Cassandra stared at her reflection. The lines, the subtle sag, the weariness around her once vibrant eyes. It was a cruel trick time. Each day, a subtle theft of her youthful glow. But she held a secret, a silver promise nestled in her manicured hand. The age-away remote. It had cost her a fortune, this miracle of science. Yet what was fortune compared to immortality? She'd seen the demos, the testimonials. A press of a button, a tingling sensation, and years would melt away. Cassandra hesitated, a tremor of fear running through her. But the woman in the mirror, the one who was already a ghost of her former self, beckoned her forward. With a deep breath, she pressed the button. A wave of energy surged through her, tingling, electric. Cassandra gasped, her hand flying to her throat as if to capture the escaping years. The mirror rippled, her reflection blurring, then snapping back into focus. She was younger, the lines gone, her skin luminous. Exultation flooded her. She laughed, a giddy, disbelieving sound. Days turned into weeks. Cassandra reveled in her restored youth. Parties blurred into a cacophony of admiring glances. Her boyfriend, a wealthy investor who'd been growing distant, couldn't keep his hands off her. She was a star reborn, shining brighter than ever. But the remote, like a greedy child, demanded more, whispering promises of eternal youth. Each time, Cassandra gave in, pushing the button further until the day she went too far. She woke up disoriented, the world around her too big, too bright. Her limbs felt oddly uncoordinated. Panic welled up in her throat as she caught sight of her reflection. Staring back at her was a child, no more than 2 years old, with wide, frightened eyes. Her thoughts were a jumbled mess, fragmented memories of a life she could barely grasp. Her luxurious apartment felt cold and alien. Her boyfriend, his face a mask of horror, was gone. Her friends, those socialites who'd flocked to her side, were nowhere to be seen. In their place was a woman, her features vaguely familiar, her eyes filled with a pity that felt like a slap. "Don't worry, Cassie," the woman said, her voice strained. "I'll take care of you. You're my little girl now." Cassandra, her voice lost somewhere in the recesses of her toddler mind, could only whimper, the full horror of what she'd done crashing over her. Section 4. A porcelain doll. Her sister Amelia became her guardian, her jailer. Gone were the silks and diamonds, replaced by frilly dresses and endless rounds of peekaboo. Amelia, always in the shadow of Cassandra's beauty, seemed to relish her role as the caretaker. She fussed over Cassandra's hair, dressing her up in elaborate princess gowns, parading her around like a prized doll. Each day was a torment. The babble of baby talk grated on her nerves. The constant need for naps, the bland, mushy food, the endless stream of brightly colored toys. It was enough to drive her insane. But the most terrifying thing was the silence that had fallen over her. The words were there, trapped in her head, but her tongue felt thick and clumsy, unable to form the sounds of adult speech. Section 5. The Bars of Innocence. Baths were the worst. Stripped bare, her small body exposed, Cassandra would thrash and scream, a silent, panicked protest. Amelia, mistaking it for childish glee, would only laugh, splashing water on her face. There were moments, fleeting and desperate, when Cassandra would rip off the hated clothes, the silky feel of the fabric against her skin a small act of rebellion. Amelia, exasperated, would simply sigh and leave her be, attributing it to the terrible twos. For a brief, glorious moment, Cassandra would be free, running naked through the vast apartment, a tiny, forgotten sprite. But the freedom was always short-lived, ending with Amelia scooping her up, bundling her into a fresh diaper, the scent of baby powder a suffocating reminder of her imprisonment.